Sometimes scoring the highest possible score in the IELTS exam isn't about long hours of study. It is actually about the quick tips that help you become better. Hello everybody, it's me, the hero teacher, and in this video I'm going to give you 30 quick tips that will immediately boost your IELTS listening score. Tip number 1 is about listening to podcasts at 1.25x, 1.5x, or even 2x. This speed at first will be difficult for you, but then you will get used to listening to faster English. And after that, believe me, IELTS recordings will be piece of cake. Tip number 2 is about not watching movies, but listening to podcasts. Because when you watch a movie, you've got your eyes to get the visual input and tell you what is actually happening. But in the IELTS exam, we don't have any visual input. It's your ears that need to tell you the story. That's why when you listen to the podcast, you don't have any visual input, just like the IELTS exam. Tip number 3 is about using your time wisely to check all the questions in the given set. Even if you've got extra few seconds left, do not move to the next set of the questions, because you have to be sure about understanding every point in the given set in order not to make any mistakes. At the beginning of the test, when there is a general announcement about the IELTS listening, it is okay to go through all the parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. Not to speculate strategies, but just to be familiar with the questions. It's always good to be psychologically ready for what's coming at you. Tip number 5 is about the vast majority of not completion questions require a noun. Although in section 4 you may have to write 1 or 2 adjectives, but that doesn't change the overall rule. You primarily need nouns to answer not completion questions. If you're not sure about whether you need a singular noun or a plural noun, I mean both of them work for the same question, always go with the plural version. Trust me, it works. If you enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing because it motivates me beyond measure. Thank you very much for your time and effort. When you're given some time at the end of each section to check your answers in that particular section, my suggestion is that go and check the questions from the next upcoming section, because what you have already written probably is not going to change anything, but it is wise to use the given time for the next questions. Always check the grammar in not completion questions. For example, if you miss an indefinite article, an, that means you are going to miss the fact that you need a singular countable noun as an answer, which is very important. In multiple choice questions, instead of trying to memorize the whole option, always focus on the main core idea. This will save you a ton of time, and it will also psychologically help you relax because you'll only understand what's necessary to know. In multiple choice questions, always be aware of the question sentence. Without fully understanding what you are answering to, you will never be able to find the correct option. Again, in multiple choice questions, the distractors, aka wrong options, are also spoken by the speaker. But that does not mean they are the correct options. Usually speakers use those options in a wrong way just to confuse you, and you have to be aware of that. In the listening part of the IELTS test, all the questions come with the recording order, which means if you pass a question, you will never hear it again. That means probably you've missed it. Even if you miss a question in the IELTS listening part, that doesn't mean it is the end of the world, because getting demotivated will only hurt your score. And the good news is, even if you make one mistake, you can still get overall band 9 in the listening part. Each section of the IELTS listening contains some sort of a story. Listen to those stories as if they are a voicemail sent by your friend. That way, you will easily catch the details instead of just staring at the questions without knowing what to do. Do not try to do full tests the day before the exam. You need to rest your mind and relax. What you have done is already enough for the exam, and you'll get what score you actually deserve. In IELTS listening recordings, main information is usually provided by stressed words and sentences. These words and sentences sometimes are the actual answer or guidance for you to the answer. So never ever ignore stressed words and sentences. In section 3, be aware of speakers' agreements and disagreements. Probably it's going to answer a question in that section. Never miss agreements and disagreements in section 3 recordings. In computer delivered version of the test, you don't have to worry about writing in lowercase letters or uppercase letters because they both are accepted. In section 4, at the beginning, you get a longer pause or longer period of time to check your questions. This is because in the middle, you don't have any pause for the remaining questions. That's why do not forget to check all 10 questions of the section right from the beginning. If you are not certain, do not change your answers to something different. Your first answer is often the right answer. Repetition or self-correction in recordings usually is a great signal for correct answers. That's why be aware of such occurrences. Remember, you are not going to hear the same words from the questions in the recordings. What you are going to hear is paraphrased versions or synonyms. That's why focusing on the meaning of the question will always help you find the same meaning in the recording. Do not leave any questions in the test unanswered because you are not penalized for wrong answers, and why not to try your luck? Practice spelling names and numbers because these questions may come at the very beginning of the test and confuse you. Also, practice typing on a keyboard. Since computer delivered exams are becoming very popular nowadays, it is safe to practice typing on a keyboard to increase your typing speed. In multiple choice questions, if an option is using the same wording from the audio, that means this is a trap and probably the option is not correct. Be aware of that. Be careful with buts and howevers. They usually come right after you think you've found the answers. In map questions, always check where your here mark is. This is where all the directions start from. Words with a hyphen is often counted as one word. For example, secondhand, that's just one word. And finally, don't worry about the accent you are writing your answers in. If you use American or British accent, they both are accepted. For example, color and color, so one with you, one without you, they both are accepted. And there we are, 30 quick tips to help you get better score in the IELTS exam. Thank you very much and good luck in the exam. Bye-bye.